vado sul mio Twitch TV, vediamo se sta effettivamente streamando. Dice che sono online, vediamo se è così. Channel, yes, perfetto. Ok, siamo live su Twitch. Okay, so what we're gonna do today is here we go. So we're full on. We've got a poker
Hello.
of people inside, which is great, absolutely fantastic. We can start off. So what we're gonna do today, this is gonna be our first live streaming of FinTech Game, where we discuss in a bit of different languages every time. This time it's gonna be English, some other times it's gonna be Italian. It depends on the day, it depends on the mood. We discuss about everything crypto, everything finance, and everything about the markets and how things are moving. More specifically, we just treat different environments. At this stage, we're going to look at fixed APYs in crypto protocols, together with a bit of an understanding of what blockchain is and how it works, and more specifically, what are the differences between the BSC, Binance Smart Chain, and the Ethereum blockchain. It's not going to be too much in-depth explanation on any of these subjects, but it's more of a chat with a bit of a background research that some of us has done, and for which everyone can just join in this live and ask questions, or any type of questions about these or any other subjects if they want to. So I would probably start with talking about the blockchain. Just recap on what we've done. So we essentially have done a couple of things with this live before. So we explained, first of all, we explained what is a blockchain, what is the definition of blockchain, how the blockchain is important with respect to the new technologies and finance, and most specifically. We have talked about new ways of investing money into the blockchain and why these new ways of investments can be beneficial for lots of people. In the second meeting we had, we also talked a little bit more in depth into blockchain and how new technologies like NFTs are arising in the markets, and how these NFTs, for example, are quite important for, say, artists or media producers, and that type of thing. So before I start, let me just make sure that I'm not presenting my screen, because I want to see everyone. There we go. So we can have a more in-depth chat of what's going on. So let's get started. We've got blockchain. Let's define what the blockchain is. I want to possibly talk a bit about it, and then possibly Frank, which is, I think it's above me, at least for me, we'll talk about different types of blockchains, and more specifically the differences between the Ethereum blockchain and the Binance Smart Chain, which are one of the most important ones. So blockchain is a technology that has been built now more than 10 years ago. It's the main infrastructure over which bitcoins have been created. Bitcoins, which are now one of the most important cryptocurrency existing. How does blockchain change everything for us? Well, there's many things, but as we know, it's the security of it, the automation, the fact that we can transfer money from one person to the other with no intermediaries in between. Everything is very fast, effective, It runs securely on a blockchain network, and most importantly is cryptographic. It's secure. It reaches the other end, and it's more effective essentially than dirty, quote unquote, banks. It just works flawlessly. On the blockchain itself, aside from the Bitcoin blockchain, over the years, many types of chains have arisen, and one of the most important ones are the Binance Smart Chain. Now, the Binance Smart Chain, it's really easy to for example, to get it mistaken between different things, but so Binance originally started out as a broker, and so I think a few years back, you had people wanting to trade Bitcoins, later on Ethereums, or ETHs in the Ethereum blockchain, and then later on other type of cryptocurrencies on different networks, and then soon enough it grew out of popularity. People wanted to trade on it, and they've been trading on it for quite a while, and then at some point the Binance guys, so the developers behind it, decided, you know what, we are making people trade all these currencies, why don't we create our own? And so they created a smart chain, and they called it Binance Smart Chain. And now Binance Smart Chain is one of the most important ones. Why? Because you have interesting investments which are built on the Binance Smart Chain. One of these we're going to discuss in a bit. But instead of talking too much, because it's quite a lot of things, and either we start basic, but so the starting level of this is going to be quite, basic to intermediate, I would say. So I would acknowledge that the person that is following this knows what a blockchain is, knows that there are different smart chains and blockchains, and so we're going to just focus on specific things. So at this point, I'll probably ask Frank what he thinks about the differences between the Binance Smart Chain and how Ethereum has its own blockchain, and possibly I would like to also discuss with everyone the concept of proof of staking later on, which is also tied to all sorts of things. We're going to talk about fixed APYs, which rely on the concept of proof of stake, and also how Ethereum is going to reflect into the proof of stake technology. So Frank, what are the differences there?
I take a step back, start talking about Ethereum. I do a brief introduction about it. So Ethereum has been created from Vitalik in 2013, and Ethereum is a blockchain network similar to Bitcoin, but there are a few keys that makes him better or faster, or allows more opportunity for the people who enter into it. For example, Ethereum, compared to Bitcoin, introduced the smart contract, were built on Solidity, and also in Viper. And also Ethereum as a virtual machine was built from a lot of devices that need to be open all the time in order to validate the transaction and exchange, transfer token, and all of that. And Ethereum wanted to add something to its blockchain that Bitcoin didn't have. For example, when you sell something on Bitcoin, you can see just that has been sold or not, and Ethereum want to show in what time from who the token has been sold or has been bought. And that's a really good thing, because Ethereum want to keep more data inside his own blockchain, and is also kind of faster. I mean, but the best thing is that is more decentralized for how it is set up inside its blockchain. So in Ethereum there are 7,000 nodes, and in the Bitcoin there are about 9,000. And in every node, there are people who convalidate the transaction, or allows the system keep growing or keep going on. And cazzo l'inglese, vabbè, taglierai la parte. Oh, scusate ragazzi. Allora, io vado avanti in italiano, non ce la faccio.
No, it's fine. Actually, it was working. It was working fine. Yeah, carry on.
No. Vabbè.
Come on, Frank. Come on.
Vabbè.
Come on, Frank.
The main difference between Binance Smart Chain and Ethereum is the proof of work and proof of stake.
Yeah.
For example, Ethereum is built on the proof of work.
Yeah.
What is the proof of work?
Let me just share my my page so that everyone knows what's happening. Yeah. Sorry, not this one. Proof of work and proof of stake stake.
Yeah, both proof of work and proof of stake, they are based on mass algorithmic, who are inside the blockchain. And the difference is that proof of work, it means that people who validate the token, who mint the token, they need to resolve math problems in order to show that they made work, and then they can receive they can get recompensated in that token that they minted. They are literally creating the token. In proof of stake, the token existed already, but they just need to validate it. And in order to do that in the proof of stake, they usually need to have an important amount of token. For example, in the Binance Smart Chain is 3 million value of dollars in BNB coin. And once they have such amount of token, they can validate the transaction inside the blockchain from one user to another, just if they have a specific device, for example, a RAM with 64-bit or other characteristics who allows to do this transaction. So the difference is the proof of work requires more work than the proof of stake. Ethereum is built on the proof of work, and Binance Smart Chain is built on the proof of stake. So proof of work is also slower because it requires more energy to process the transaction. And proof of stake requires less energy, is faster, and requires to you less money if you want to do a transaction inside this chain. For example, we can say that in order to do a transaction inside of a chain who works with proof of stake, for example, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, or many others, you need to spend an average of $6, but really often is even $30-40. And in the proof of stake, you are used to spend less than $1 to do the transaction. But the question is why you have to spend so many money. So there are people who validate this transaction, and the work of these people has to be recompensated. So literally in the proof of stake, people who validate it takes less time, less energy to verify the transaction and allow the transaction to get done from one user to another. And in the proof of work, it requires more and more. These transactions are paid in gas fee, which in Ethereum situation, you pay this gas fee in Ethereum. And there is the gas fee. There is a minimum amount that you have to pay, and it's called price of the gas fee. And the smaller amount that you can pay is just some dollars, but at the end of the transaction, you have to sum all of this, and you achieve more value than than the previous than the lowest amount of gas fee that you are supposed to pay.
Yeah.
So what have in common Binance and Ethereum is that they are the second generation of cryptocurrency network.
Sorry, Binance
because
and Ethereum are the second generation.
Yeah, we can tell that we can say that they are the same, considered the same generation, the second generation actually, because the difference is that I don't know if you ever heard about EVM compatible chain. That means that is built on Ethereum blockchain. It is built on the Ethereum blockchain because it uses the same. Sorry.
Ethereum virtual machine.
Yeah, exactly. So even Binance Smart Chain work with this Ethereum virtual machine, and this Ethereum virtual machine is an ecosystem of device who need to be open all the time, like I said before, and the people cannot turn them off. If they turn off their device, they can also get a penalty, for example. Also, the penalty
consists. Ethereum virtual machine, it's like a network.
Yeah.
Like a server. Network server.
Yeah, is
connect to it.
The Ethereum virtual machine is. I mean, it needs to make happen all the transaction, everything that happen inside the blockchain. Even if you want to create something new or just send money from me to Paolo, this machine has to be open all the time. And every chain that is supported from this machine is considered Ethereum compatible. As Binance Smart Chain, it is. And
so let me get this straight. I think now this is a very important thing because actually it opens up lots of questions. I didn't know about this. So I heard about the EVM, it's Ethereum virtual machine. So what the Ethereum virtual machine? This is a server. It runs on a physical machine. It's got stacks.
Yeah, in a lot of machine.
It's got multiple farms that are hosted somewhere. And they can be also using people's computers and use part of their computer. Some people might have installed them in their own computer, I think. What is it?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They use a.
And the interesting thing is that if you look here, it says program. So this is the PC with the memory and the stack, which is used across the blockchain network. So it's not a physical server, but I think it runs on different machines which are rotated every time depending on whichever one is on and is able to transfer data. But the important part is that the gas is essentially the amount of computational power that these machines are using for doing all of the operations. So that is proof of stake, proof of work, everything. And then proof of work is what? Proof of work is just the mining ability of computers in the Bitcoin blockchain, for example, to destroy blocks and therefore have more liquidity of Bitcoins. Right? So that's one thing that
the same thing works for Ethereum till they will create the Ethereum 2.0. So for the moment, it works from that point of view. It works like Bitcoin. It's different from Binance because Binance, they actually the staking is not that they add liquidity into into the BNB coin, but they just need to validate the transaction, and then the people who stake the coin, they get rewarded with the fee that will be paid by transferring the coin between one user to another. So
so that's proof of stake, and it's essentially what we're seeing is that Ethereum and Vitalik, as he said already, that Ethereum is on process to become a proof of stake blockchain network. So before this time, it was not a proof of stake network, and that's why we're paying so much fucking gas fees. Sorry for the French, but that's pretty much what that is. Whereas, for example, the Binance Smart Chain does not have to pay that much gas fee, or for example, on Terra, because it's a built-in proof of stake smart chain, then we don't pay gas fees because of this proof of stake. So because of proof of stake, the gas fees are lower because the shared network helps in transferring data from one place to the other and doesn't have to pay that much computational power. I think that's what it is, right? So this is really interesting, and I'm not sure, but we might connect back to the fact of the EVM, Ethereum Virtual Machine, where possibly BSC, for example, might be created on an EVM. That's what you were saying, where like there's
it is created on
EVM, and that's why we don't pay as many gas fees.
Actually, even Ethereum is created on EVM, but the only difference is the proof of work. Ethereum is built on the EVM, but it works with the proof of work. So, one chain like Ethereum works with the EVM, but is not proof of stake. Binance Smart Chain works with the EVM, but is also proof of stake.
Okay. Yeah. So it depends on the network, how it's been originally designed. So, okay. Maybe Paolo, have you got questions or anything?
No, at the moment.
Okay. So what I understand, essentially, you've got a BSC which is built on top of the Ethereum blockchain. It forks out and it creates its own space, and then you've got this new smart chain. It's an interesting spot because on that specific smart chain, you've got lots of new tokens being built. They're retrocompatible with the Ethereum blockchain. And as we saw last time, what we did is we saw all the possible interesting things that you have on BSC. You can go to PancakeSwap. You can use BNBs, which run on the BSC smart chain, and then you can swap BSCs to, I don't know what's happening to my camera, it just keeps going out of focus. He swaps BSCs to other tokens. For example, we tried with Titano, we tried with Libero, we tried with other types of tokens. Some of them went completely bust, they went to zero and people lost lots of money. Some of the people went in and did pretty well. I heard the story of this YouTuber, I don't know what's his name, but he started with 3k and now he's got 250k because of getting early on into Titano. Okay, so anything else, Frank? Do you want to add into the
I can say that at the moment the Binance Smart Chain and his exchange is the biggest in the world. There are more than 13 billions inside it, and the BNB coin has a market cap of 65 billion. Is lower than Ethereum. Ethereum is about 300 billion of market cap, but I noticed that by reading some files that 40% of the BNB coin is owned is I mean the fundator of BNB owns the company owns the 40% of the token, which is a lot actually, and it scares me because this technology is created to be decentralized. Sorry.
Centralized.
Yeah, decentralized. But in some situation, it looks like a big slice of it is still on some hand. And yeah, but for the rest, it's really good. There are just 21 validators inside the Binance Smart Chain, and in Ethereum there are more than 200,000 validators, which make the things a little bit different. Of course, there are good things and bad things in every chain if we have to compare one to another. So yeah, just a point.
Yeah, this is interesting actually.
Yeah.
So essentially, like so we're talking about these protocols and these chains as part of a big family of you know compartments, subjects, which is DeFi, decentralized finance. But then this concept of decentralized finance doesn't hold as much when you get BNB, because BNB, as you said, it's owned, like the token is owned by 40%.
Yeah. I was speaking about just the token. The token is owned more than 40% from the owner.
So say they produced 100 BNBs at the beginning, but they held 40 of them, and then they can see the price going up, and that's how it's like a stocks. You have a new startup. You call it Apple, or I don't know, Strawberry, and then your company Strawberry starts selling. You do a initial coin offering in this case. So you've got a first rollout of coins. People buy your tokens, your Jetoni or whatever, and then they can see the price going up because of the hype or whatever, because your company has intrinsic value, and people think that it's gonna fire up because you're doing computers or whatever, or chips, and your intrinsic value goes up. So it's similar to this decentralized network. Actually, people build centralized networks on top of it. It's interesting. But the important thing that I wanted to connect to at this point is that so we started out with just Bitcoins. We then later on arrived to things like Ethereum, then carried on, and we had Binance, BNBs, Binance Smart Chain, and now what have we got, Frank? We've got many of these things, right?
We have a lot. They are called Ethereum killer because they are based on the same technology of Ethereum. We have Phantom, Solana, the most important, E-Gold, Ireland, and also we should have. I'm not seeing the screen, but I guess
this is
of course Terra, and Avalanche. I don't remember. Isn't there? Is a chain? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it. So there's plenty of different chains. Some of them started out by their own. Some others started from Ethereum. Most of them actually are forks of Ethereum. But there's a few of them which are really interesting. Let's see if I can get the Binance. BSC. There we go. I couldn't see it. So this is the Binance Smart Chain, BSC. And you have all these protocols on top of it. Well, not protocols. Sorry, these are tokens. They're not protocols. So Cake, Venus, Alpaca Finance, Ellipsis Finance, Stranchness, Cream, all of these ones. Now,
Yeah, I wanted to add that all of them, they are a smart contract. I mean, and everyone can create a smart contract inside the chain. Just programming it, developing it on Solidity. Now, in case of Binance Smart Chain, you can also use Java, JavaScript, and maybe C++, and others actually.
Yeah. So now that's where we get really interesting, right? Because we have the blockchain, which is the infrastructure. That's the street over which you have traffic. Then you have the chains, the networks, which are essentially roads, where only specific types of vehicles can go through. For example, BNB on BSC. That's BNB works on the Binance Smart Chain, or Cake works on the Binance Smart Chain. And then you have the vehicles themselves. What are the vehicles? These are the tokens. Now, okay, so if we compare tokens to cars and smart chains to roads, highways, and everything, the rules around those roads are what we call protocols. So this is where, as Frank was saying, it's important. So you have protocols. Protocols are rules and regulations, how the traffic goes, how many cars need to go on a specific chain, how many cars are created, how do you create these cars, how do you transfer these cars, can these cars be transferred to other highways, that sort of thing. And the important thing about this is that these protocols are built on programming languages, Solidity, C++, whatever, and some of these protocols are built together with a token. And this is the case of, for example, this guy here, if I can find it. Should be, yeah, it's this one here, Anchor. So Anchor, what is it? Anchor is a token. It's a tokenized asset. That's how you call it. It works on the Terra chain. We're going to talk about what the Terra chain is, but Terra is a smart chain which has proof of stake. So it's a stakeable smart chain, which is going quite good at the moment for many different reasons. And one of the tokens that it's running on Terra is this Anchor here. Anchor itself is also not only the name of the token, ANC, but it's also a protocol which is called Anchor, the Anchor protocol. And if you go to the website, this is their website, anchorprotocol.com, better Anchor savings. You can see here it says Anchor offers better yield. It's stable and attractive, powered by staking returns from multiple proof of stake blockchains. So we have proof of stake. It's a blockchain that has proof of stake. What is proof of stake? We said proof of stake is it's the technology by which the blockchain or the network in a very intelligent way uses each node to transfer or to validate transactions made on the same chain. So if I send money or if I send tokens to Frank, I will go through the smart chain, and all my transactions and all my tokens will be validated and transferred onto Frank, and in a very efficient way, using as less computational power as possible. And that's why the gas fees are lower on these types of chains. So Anchor offers frictionless access, but the most important part of Anchor by itself is an interesting project, which I think Frank will know more about. But what this is a coin which is part of a bigger family of coins or tokens. We call it coins or tokens, that's the same thing. Token is a token of a specific coin, so it's one of a coin. but this is a UST, which is essentially a stable coin. Again, so stable coins are tokens, are coins that are not as volatile as other coins. They have value because they are fixed to the value of something that is real, of a real coin. So, for example, this guy here, UST, is fixed to the value of the US dollar. So that's how it is. So all of the values of one token of UST is equal to $1. So why is this Anchor protocol important, and why did it sort of get my interest? Because in these types of protocols, we have something that is called a fixed APY protocol. So what is a fixed APY protocol? Essentially, what that is a protocol, so it's a set of rules and regulations that work in a way where you receive a fixed amount of tokens, or a fixed percentage of tokens. So your tokens, your capital in tokens will grow by a fixed amount every year. So that's a PY. So if I tell you that Paolo will have a fixed APY of 10% per year, that means that if he gets 100 tokens of Luca coin, then those 100 Luca coins next year will be 110. Without even touching them, they will be 110, because it's a protocol that gives Paolo 10% on his capital. Now, it's important to distinguish the fact that the 10% of the real value versus the 10% of the tokenizable assets, because I'm talking about the tokenizable assets. Those ones are going 10% more. Now, the value of that 100 versus 110 and 10 tokens does not really depend on this. That depends on the market. If Luca coin is worth $1, then he has gained $10. But if Luca coin the next year from $1 drops to 50 cents, then he's lost money, even though he's got more tokens. So it's the same rules that are applied onto macroeconomics and liquidity and currencies and exchanges also apply on the smart chain. So what is actually Anchor, Frank? How does it work, and what do you think?
Anchor is a protocol in this situation that allows you to stake your coin or borrow your coin. I mean, if you borrow, you have to pay the interest to them, and you also have to deposit a collateral. A collateral is an amount of coin in terms of value that is usually the double of the worth that you borrow. Then you deposit those coin. In this situation, you can deposit Ethereum and the Luna token in forms of B Luna and B token, who are the same, a different token but follow the same value. So you can deposit one or another, or in order to borrow USD, if you want to borrow USD. Once you borrow USD, you have to pay back something around 13%, if I'm not wrong. It depends. 2 months ago it was 16%. Now, if I'm not wrong, it should be 13%. And if you are not able to give those money back, they will take your collateral from you. Or they will take your collateral even if this collateral go down in value. If the coin of Luna or the coin of Ethereum go down in value, they can take a part of it or require more to top up the collateral. But the good thing that is interesting for me is the fact that if you deposit USD just with lending your money, you can get a APY of 20% of rewards. And that is amazing because USD is supposed to follow the dollar's value. And I never seen something like that. I mean, in some protocol, there are even higher APY or APR, but in this situation, looks like it's stable from more than a year. So we wanted to find out why Anchor Protocol rewards you so much. And this is a big question. In my opinion, is a bit unstable, but we want to try to get on top of that. Where Anchor Protocol get this money to refund you? Of course, part of them you can get from the people who borrow money and they give back the 13%, and part of them they can get from the collateral that they stake, and they can get the 8% from depositing Ethereum coin, or I don't know, 7% from depositing Luna coin. And when you sum all of these, you can get the rewards that you are supposed to receive. In some situation, when the protocol is not sustainable to give you the rewards, you
I think we might be losing
the reserve there, because there are some period. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. There are some period where the protocol is performing a lot, and it can
So I just checked
get
right
more
now,
than 20%.
and I can see that, like, I just saw it before. Where was it? Yeah, the APR has dropped to 15.88%. It was 20%.
Well, I was expecting that. I was expecting that, but better in this way actually, because I was worried about the 20%.
15% APR, it's quite good, to be honest. So, but
Yeah,
that
it's not
also
bad.
tells me that if it dropped, it's also reliable. It means that it's automating.
Actually, my APR, I can see that are you, Luca, are you sure it's 15? My APR looks like it's still, sorry, APY is still 19.5.
Maybe, I think it's the, oh no, I think this is the APR on ANC. But possibly on USD, it might still be 19%. 19 point
Okay.
something. But drop the link that you're seeing.
Yeah, I'm trying to look into it.
Oh yeah, you're right. There we go. Arena, 19.5%.
9.5. Okay, so we are still earning money in some way. I don't know how, but looks like the Hill Reserve is giving us money for free. They are giving us money. I don't know how they can really afford that. Maybe you you saw more about the white paper about Anchor Protocol to explain this better, or maybe it's not sustainable like it looks like, or maybe it is.
Yeah. So I this morning I had some time, so I just sort of went through it. I would have expected that it would have been much more technical. Okay, so one small thing to say, just for people that don't know. Protocols like these, as we said, protocols are rules around a smart chain. They create rules and create tokens, and they define the rules over which the economy around these work. So they decide if there is a 20% APR or 25% of whatever. Okay, Paolo, if you understand, let me know. And all of these protocols, or most of them, also have a white paper with it. So when they get released, they also have a white paper. A white paper is simply how would you call it? A research paper, similar to a research paper, university paper, where they explain technically how the protocol works and what this what the token is about and how it works. So if we look at their white paper, we can see gold standard for passive income on the blockchain. That is what Anchor is. It's written by these three guys, Nicolas Platias, Ivo John Lee, Marco Di Maggio, which I know they are coming from a US university. I don't remember which one, if it was MIT or another university in New York. So quite prestigious guys. So I would have expected it to be much more technical. It's not that technical. It's very discursive, and I was a little bit not concerned, but I was expecting more. So what they say is Anchor offers a principal protected stablecoin savings product that pays depositor a stable interest rate. It achieves this by stabilizing the deposit interest rate with block rewards accruing to assets that are used to borrow stable coins. Okay, this is already saying a lot. Anchor will thus offer DeFi's benchmark interest rate determined by the yield of the POS blockchains with highest demand. Ultimately, we envision Anchor to become the gold standard for passive income on the blockchain. This is okay, they're hoping for the best. So, it's not a big read. It gets slightly mathsy, but not too much. And I'll try to explain what I got from this, which is really simple and easy to see here. So the way that this works, as far as I understand, is, as Frank was explaining, it works on over-collateralized market. So they set up this product for which they have a 20% APY. APY of 20% is something that is crazy. It's not something common. How do you get a 20% APY on investment? That is terrible. And on a fixed basis. So they need to have liquidity somewhere. This APY needs to come from somewhere, from some other people's money. Okay, it's always the case. If you have 20% of something, this 20% is coming from someone else's pockets. So where are these pockets? Okay, these pockets are essentially creditors, borrowers that borrow ingent amounts of money from the Anchor protocol, and the system over which the credit is built is such that if I want to borrow money from the Anchor protocol, I need to over-collateralize myself with more than what I want to borrow. So if I want to borrow 500,000 pounds or something, 500,000 USD in, USDs, okay, what I have to do is I have to fix a portfolio of at least, say, 800,000 USD. So that is over collateralization. In order to have X, I need to put in 2X. If I want to have 5X, I need to put in 10X. Okay? Where X is the token that I'm using. So that you see that from the little schema, what's happening is that they use different tokenizable assets, tokenized stakes. One of Anchor's core primitives is the B asset, a tokenized stake on a POS, proof of stake blockchain. A B asset is a token that represents ownership of a staked POS of assets. Essentially, a B asset it's a little bit like an NFT, if we remember talking about it, where it pays the holder and it's both transferable and fungible. So users can therefore transact with BA assets with the same case as the underlying POS asset. So this is sort of getting cryptic, but what happens is that a borrower can over-collateralize himself by depositing the required sum into these tokenized stakes. These tokenized stakes are B atom, B luna, B eth, B dot. Okay, so they deposit this, and then these assets will then shape the interest that is then deposited onto UST tokens. The reason that the entire protocol works very well, unlike some other protocols where this got bust, is the fact that the amount that is needed in interest in money terms. So the interest rate on the borrowing is in terms of USD, which is a stable coin. It's not an unstable coin. It's a stable coin, which is easy to well, it's easy. It's less volatile, and so it doesn't really change the value over time. Okay. Now, so this is the main source of income from this project. Essentially, it's a bank. It's a bank that has liquidity and gives people money. They earn interest over those money, and also the people that borrow money over collateralize their assets, which in case of which means that essentially if Paolo borrows but he cannot give back the interest, and he lost all his money because he put it on fucking Titano, and Titano went bust the next day, then what happens, like it's doing also in the last 2 days, but what happens is I have is over collateralized tokens, so I can get his ass essentially, and I can bring his ass back to my protocol because he's over collateralized. So if he cannot repay the debt, I've got already his money. That's how it works. So it's a very, very smart way of dealing with this stuff. But the question is, why would anyone in the world want to borrow that amount of money when you have to over collateralize yourself? So it's like, if I want to buy a house, I need to already have a house to buy it. Why would you want to do it? That's the main question, which I'm not really quite sure about. I'm guessing that the reason for it is that if I am a big investor, I give you the house, my house is staking on the protocol, so the collateral that I am putting back into the protocol is also growing, it's staking. So I gain from me getting you a big collateral, and at the same time I borrow more. I maybe invest in high risk, high reward non-stable coins like Titano and Libero. I make large amounts of profits. I come back, I pay the interest, and I am in profit. And all of those interest is then used, say it's more than 20%, it's probably 35% of interest. Okay, so we're talking much more. So that gap between 35 and 20% is then used to pay all the users in the protocol. I think that's how it works pretty much. And on top of that, you have another source of income, which is proof of stake itself, and the staking also produces income to users, and also of course the fees, because there are fees to get into it and there are fees to get out of it. In this particular case, the fees are very low, but there's other protocols similar to this where the fees are much higher. But this is stable, it's much stable because the interest rate is only 20%. Well, only 20%, because in the crypto world it's very low. So that's how I sort of understood. But there are still some questions about it. Here he talks about algorithmic interest rates. So the way that the interest rate, or the interest rate algorithm works. So the interest rate algorithm charges borrowers. So this function here represents, or this function here I should say, just below, represents the interest rates on the borrowing, and it's calculated algorithmically. So it's not fixed. It's calculated algorithmically with respect to the functions underneath, which are the amount of liquidity, the amount of users, the amount of capital investment, the amount of borrowed deposits and the total deposits and all of this stuff. So you can see that it's flexible and it changes depending on the conditions around the protocol. And that is pretty much that. So if we go into this a little bit more in depth, we will know about the anchor rate, which is understanding, if I understand, it's the average rate over which the B assets, so the tokenizable stakes, are staking at. So how much they're getting stakes at. What is the rate for it? But yeah, that's as far as I got. I'm wondering what are your thoughts on this?
Me, Luca.
Yeah, anyone actually.
Yeah, in my opinion, the fact is, I'm still wondering why people should borrow from Anchor. Because as you said, okay, you can stake your B token. Okay, so if you trust that coin, your wealth can still get higher. But at the same point, you have to pay an high rewards to the protocol in order to borrow money. There are other protocols who has lower fee, lower interest to pay if you want to borrow money. So yeah, that makes me curious why people borrow money in Anchor protocol. I know that some people borrow money in Anchor protocol. They borrow USD just in order to put them back into the pool and get the rewards. So they put this USD into USD earn. They get the 20%. And with just 15% they put back to pay the interest. But yeah, at the same time, I also think that the asset that you deposit, the interest of this asset that they are in staking, is the protocol that is earning the interest of the staking. And then distribute this interest to the people who lend the money, who lend the USD. So I have a lot of questions about it, and what I'm thinking is once the yield reserve it gets lower, Anchor is has to put lower the interest, the rewards. That's what I'm thinking. I hope not. Actually, maybe there is something that I'm not aware of. But if I have to think in this way, I think that is what is going to happen. I don't know what you think about this, but this is my thinking.
What's the question again?
It's not a question. Is a mix of things that, in my opinion, the 20% is not stable. Is a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, but as like the thing is, as long as they make money out of borrowers willing to pay back 30% or 40% out of their borrowing, that would explain quite a lot. But what I don't understand is why in the world would you borrow at 40%?
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy. Unless you do that because you then earn, on Titano, 150%, and so you sort of, but then that means that the entire protocol relies and is built upon high risk borrowers. So people that are borrowing and then they are throwing it into high risk pools and then hoping to get
I think the same
higher. So it's a bit risky, but then the fact that they cover their asses with over collateralized tokens explains why this is still running and it didn't get bust. Because if they already own more than what they have to get back, so that's why we get this 20%. And also it's flexible. So as far as I understand, the APY rate is flexible upon all of the combinations of users borrowing, the borrowers, the borrowed rate, the amount borrowed, and such. Apparently, so far it's working well. But if it doesn't work well, then obviously this API will drop. That's what I think. Paolo has a question.
No, yet.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it's really, for me, is the first time that I'm going deep in this kind of topics, and actually I'm just listening and try to figure out all your, all the meanings and all the stuff, all the system, but I need I need
To digest.
other research, and yeah, at the moment I don't know how explain, so it's difficult. I mean, it's something that I never heard before, and you guys are so good that you are explaining in a really deep way that actually
You're sort of getting
a
a bit of it.
I'm sorry, so sorry.
No, that's fine. You don't have to be sorry.
I'm listening. Actually, I'm trying to keep the flow, and yeah. But at the moment, I don't have any question.
All right, no worries. So essentially, okay. So we talked about Anchor protocol. So what I'm thinking is, why don't we switch back into one more thing, and then we can expand a bit and go a bit off from the protocols, because we have more to talk about, probably maybe questions, NFTs, and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, so if we jump back into our last argument, so let me share my screen again, and we have to talk about. So this is sort of one of the examples of a very good fixed APY, or well, it's not really fixed, but it's a semi-fixed APY protocol. But if we jump into a new protocol like this one, then we talk about high risk. And what this is Libra Financial. It promises 158,893.59% fixed APY. It's got a nice little photo of Einstein, just for the sake of it, just to attract people. And it looks sexy, it looks beautiful, it looks like you just want to fall in love with this and start throwing money at it. And all these YouTubers screaming out, oh, 1 week later I'm now rich, I got a house, blah blah blah, I've got so much money. So what is this thing? Frank?
What is this thing? Is a protocol that assure you that you will earn in about 1 year 150,000% of APY. So I mean, you just need to deposit your money. Actually, you have to swap your token into Libero, and once you swap your token, you start earning this interest, which is about 2% a day. In a bit more than a month, you will double your amount of token, and in about 1 year, you will have 1,000 times the token that you bought, actually. And that attract people, because they can see from the calculator that is down that page how much they can earn. Of course, if the price of the token remain the same. So yeah, at the moment this protocol has 128 million dollars of market cap, if I'm not wrong. 2 days ago it was 150, and it was the higher high. And yeah, I mean, it's the first time that I heard about this kind of protocol. The other one is Titano, his brother, who actually is standing since November, and Libero started in February. Um, but they are pretty much the same thing. So I don't know exactly how they can reward you, but they probably burn token and they distribute they spread this token from the users who own Libero. So yeah, I mean it's pretty much interesting actually, because I mean if the people are attracted from this and start investing in this, then the price can keep the same level for a while, and in the meantime you can double your token, or maybe if you wait 6 months you can uh, I mean your token will be 50 times the initial amount.
Yeah, so why are you? So we got much things to talk about. I just found out that there's another fixed APY which has been created 2 days ago,
2 days ago.
and this is the stage of where we're at. It was a 1 and it's a 5 now. So this is a buy for everyone because it's gonna go up to the moon possibly, but I'm not sure. I'm not a
Treasure
financial
fine.
advisor, so I'm just this is really risky. Don't listen to what I'm saying. But it could go.
What I'm thinking about this protocol, of course, money they don't come up from nothing. So at some point,
They don't
if
grow on
they
trees.
reward you more than what they have as a liquidity, the system will crash. But
Yeah.
if you are in time and you are one of the first investors, you can get really high rewards from this.
Yeah. So why does it look sexy and saucy? Because this number here is just throwing you out to the bulls. But what this number is actually, it's the APY on the tokens you own. So it's the same things that we were saying before. You got 100, you've got an APY of 100%, you make a 100 more, so you got 200 now. And you think that you now have $200 if the token didn't change and it's still $1 per token. But actually, because of liquidity, the price of the token goes down because there's more token in the market. These get staked and they multiply, so the liquidity goes up, the value of the token goes down, so you have an APY which goes up, but the value of the token goes down. Now the question is, how many people are investing in this protocol? Because if people are still investing and they are keeping the liquidity inside of the protocol, the price of the token will still go up. And if it still goes up, the protocol will give you the tokens, and your capital is going to increase. And that's how you make a lot of money. Because really, at the end of the year, you have 100 times more of what you've invested in the first place. So that's a lot. Okay. So you put 1K, you've got 100K at the end of the year. That's crazy. If the price doesn't change. Yeah, so it's an investment. Specifically, this one works on, correct me if I'm wrong, BSC, Binance Smart Chain. You can buy this using swaps on BNB or Cake. So you buy BNB or Cake from Binance. You go to the Binance Smart Chain. So you've got this BNB and whatever Cake, and then you swap these tokens with Libero tokens on the Binance Smart Chain. And once you've got them, you've got the wallet, and everything looks great, and you've got a capital that keeps growing. My personal capital has almost gone 3 times the original investment. I put not a lot of money, but people that have put more than enough, they now have 3 times more than what they have, which is crazy. A lot. It's a lot of money. So it does work. Now, how does this thing actually make sense? So it makes sense because first of all, there's a fee. There's a fee when you come in and there's a fee when you come out. So if I now want to withdraw my money, I have to pay some money. I have to pay some tokens, and that is 18% of what I deposited. Okay, so I want to take off my 100 tokens. Well, I have to pay 18 of them to the protocol. And also, when I go into the protocol and I transfer my BNBs or cake tokens and I swap them with Libero tokens, I pay 13% fee. So that is something that makes the machine running. And on top of that, you get rewarded. So this APY, all of these fixed APY protocols are actually rewards that you receive because of being part of the network, because of keeping your liquidity inside of the network, and for participating to proof of stake. So any transaction that is being built inside of the network, you partake, you give your nodes and the part of the chain that it's yours, the nodes that you collected, and you validate other transactions and you get rewarded. So the equation here is pretty straightforward. You put in liquidity, you buy tokens. These tokens are growing at a fixed, insane rate. And as much as there's many fishes in the sea that are interested in growing their capital like crazy, then these fishes will invest in this protocol. And of course, what happens if people buy the same token? The token price goes the fuck up, and it keeps on going up, and your capital will not only increase it's going to compound. It will be every day 2% more than what it was, but also the price of the token itself will grow up. So if that happens concurrently, you have a situation where your money really grows up a lot, like it happened to me and Frank. We invested 20, and now we have 60. What happens though is the big issue is that, okay, this is fine if the token grows up, if the price goes up, or even if the price stays stable. But what's happening when the price of the token all of a sudden, and it will happen at some point, drops the fuck off? Because at some point over the line, what's going to happen is that a big investor will withdraw all of his money, pay his 18%, the value of the token drops the fuck off, everyone gets scared, and all the other investors start dropping off, and every single investor, all the big investors will start dropping off, and as they drop off, meaning withdraw their money because they think that the token doesn't worth anymore, the value of the token is going to go down and down and down until it reaches zero, and that's when you're the last person. You invested 1k, your k is gone. That's what happens with these investments. So even though Einstein is there and is looking really solidly up in the air, looks really intelligent, the intelligence are the guys that built this up, because they will probably be the first ones to leave with the money. So is it a Ponzi scheme? I don't think it's a Ponzi scheme. It's not criminal. But it's definitely something that is built on top of something that we would call hype. So as long as there is hype for this project and people will continue to bring liquidity, then this project will continue growing. That's essentially how this works. And otherwise, if the project does not grow and there is no much hype anymore, then people do not put their money into it, and the price goes down.
Sono dentro in chiamata.
Wait, I need to...
John has a question.
That was a question.
No, I just heard Jan, but
Luca,
Yeah,
mi sentite?
sì, ti
Do you hear me?
sentiamo.
Can I have just a question?
Yeah,
You spoke about the hype, right?
yeah,
And I think that like probably works for other kind of protocol as well. And I think as long as the hype is like working, right? Have like mm, a chance to trade in this kind of to like put your money to make money, right?
yeah,
And there's like some ability to like follow those kind of protocol and see when they might drop down, or like to keep a look and I don't know, like put your money in the right moments. Like for example, I think
yeah.
this investment is like wonderful. I know there's like probably a time that will drop, but I mean it's it's really impressive because it's still alive, right?
Yes, it's impressive.
So
So,
yeah,
so the way that you know if this thing is going to drop, it's not really clear. That's the problem, because one thing that is certain is
yeah,
that it will drop.
it's not clear for anyone, but I came up with an idea. I don't know if it can work. There is an app on Google who allows you to search the hype of what the people search on internet. For example, the people are looking to buy
yeah,
something or something like that. So maybe if you see that this hype, this chart is going up about Libero protocol or something like that, maybe you can see where the which point we are. Now I don't remember. Yeah, that one. I mean, it's the first time that I came up with this idea. I don't know if maybe could be interesting.
yeah, that could be interesting.
Yeah, the problem is that it doesn't give you specific
Um,
data. It would be good to have more data on this, but that's definitely something that you can see that the hype here
yeah,
it's
pretty
gone
nothing.
up quite a lot here around 20 February.
Mm.
And there's not much hype here, but this is on the United Kingdom. So if I search worldwide, oh, there we go. So actually, it's starting to get some pace.
Yeah, but it's totally unstable. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you can compare it with the previous one, which is the original copy. And you can see that it's quite correlated, but obviously you have more of Titano in the beginning here, because Libero did not exist, and then they sort of go hand in hand. And now I think Titano is slightly less, and Libero is just picking up. Who knows? But my opinion
I
is,
think the high level of research can forecast the price in the next few hours, because at the beginning the people research and then they invest. So maybe this hype is the first step, and the second step is the investment of the people.
yeah, and this is only considering these countries. So we don't know what's happening in China. That's a big country where people are investing in crypto, for example. Lots of people in China are doing it. We don't know, or sorry, Russia and China, and we don't know where. Like lots of people that we know in Africa are investing, but we don't know about it. So that's why, like, knowing what people are searching is such a freaking valuable thing, and that's why, people pay so much money to know what you're searching on the internet. And that's why they have companies that collect your data and they sell it to other organizations. Like Facebook has made trillions of dollars just by selling the information that they have on what we search on Facebook, on other people. There's the people that really want to know what
Yeah.
they search for, because they can, as Frank was saying, detect what's going to be the next thing.
Yeah.
But I do this. This is a very good way, actually, as Frank was saying. Like you can.
Yeah, it's the first time that I thought about that actually. But because for example, if you search Anchor Protocol, I'm pretty sure the hype is gonna go up, and it keep going up, and the total amount of UST will increase, because of course it's a good protocol and people will stake more and more. So yeah, of course we cannot take advantage from that, but maybe from other things we could.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that the protocol has gone up. So it's like 59, 71 here, and here it's 35. You know, it's ranging between 37 and or 40 something and 37 or 33, and it's sort of gone up. So this means that Anchor Protocol is something people might be able to invest. I was thinking of putting some of my investments on it, because worst case scenario, what's going to happen to Anchor Protocol? Nothing. You just don't receive the APY. So we
also have a small risk that the coin USD is called the peg, and it cannot follow the same value for the dollar. It can happen in some situation, but it shouldn't.
But it's a
it
stable
shouldn't
coin.
happen.
I mean, unless the company behind exploits something that it's called a rug, where there is a bug in the system that they know about, and then mysteriously, just at the hype of the project, like when people are just putting millions, then somehow a hacker from India or whatever just exploits this bug, and the virus gets all of the money, and it's gone. How interesting! Just at the hype, just somebody comes in because there was a bug in the system. So obviously the company that created the protocol knew about it, and they did it. They used it for but I don't think that's the case, to be honest, because
no, me neither.
the people
I
that are
kind of
behind
trust
we
it.
know who they are. They are from university. They are university research graduates. They are people that work in academia, so they are more reliable. And yeah, but also for Titano and for Libero, they seem reliable because the developers showed their faces, so we know who they are. We know if anything happens, we know the people behind it. So there are different metrics. But with regards to Gianluca's question, the real thing is that we don't know when really this is going to happen. We can use the hype, and people talk about it, then that means that probably it's going to go up. But
yeah, it's like a crypto wallet.
yeah, and
Almost.
at some point we know that it's going to go bust, because at some point there is going to be Mark Zuckerberg that withdraws 50 billions. The price drops, people get fuck scared, and they start dropping. I will be the first one when that happens, and so all of your money is just taken out, get the gains, and run. Take the money and run. So it's risky. Yeah, so with respect to that, there is this other interesting project, which is called Trezor. I just looked at it because it was right here in the website. They were mentioning it. I can't remember where. And I looked at it, and I thought, okay, let's have a look at the price. And when did it start? Well, this started on the 18th. Today is the 20th. So it started on Friday, guys. It was a 1, and now it's a 5. So it grew quite a lot. It could be a potential investment. I think this might be interesting. So I'll just drop it on the you can just put in like 50 euros, and maybe it really does grow up. It could be, because it's really early
This kind of project, for the fact that born 2 days ago, can really allow you to multiply your money a lot, actually.
Yeah, because the earlier you get into these projects, the higher the chances that you grow your money. This has got 383,000%. So I think I'm going to invest on it, to be honest, and keep it for 2 weeks, and maybe I'll just triple my money, and then run away. But I will do it. So I think we sort of went a bit deep into this. At this point, we can open up for discussions on NFTs, on any other queries. If anyone wants to questions, or Frank, if Frank wants to add other things on top of this, we can discuss.
No, that's fine. I'm really curious about that project that you show, the one treasure. Yeah, I would like to invest there, actually. Now I see what I'm gonna do.
It's the same thing, fixed staking APY. Yeah, we can look at the white paper, and also we can check what Google Trends is saying about it. What is it called? Treasure Finance. I don't think it's known to anyone.
That is the good thing, because if it has the potential to achieve the 100 millions of market cap, probably now it is just about 1 million or something like that. I searched, but I couldn't find the total market cap.
Yeah, there was another thing called Fino DAO, which was similar to this, and it then went bust, of course, because it was not as interesting as Libero. But I was about to invest on this, and thank God I didn't, because look.
When did it burn?
It was born on the 15th of February. It sort of went up, it gained popularity, and then quickly enough it started going down. And if you go to the page of the investment, Fino DAO, your Fino, there we go, that's the page, and you see it's pretty much the same sort of thing. Auto compounding protocol, it's the same thing. Doesn't say much about it. I mean, just by the website, you can see that it's just not really too interesting. Like the website itself is not done good. So obviously people are not really attracted to it. But yeah, you've got these types of protocols, and again, as Frank was saying, like the earlier you get into these, and the quicker the money you can get, and some, like if you get really early, you can really do a lot of money. Like that guy, 3K, he turned them into 250K. But it's a high risk, high reward investment. So that's pretty much that. I think we can open up for questions if we want to talk about NFTs, or if anyone wants to answer a question or ask something or propose what we can talk about next time. Otherwise, I can see what we can say. So yeah, just to recap, we talked about, we had a brief description of what blockchain is. We talked about the different types of blockchains. We have different networks. We went through the differences between the Binance Smart Chain and the just general Ethereum blockchain. We know that most of the new smart chains are built on top of Ethereum. We went through a very interesting concept, actually, which might be interesting to look into soon enough, which is the Ethereum virtual machine. We talked about how projects can be quite risky. We talked about the Anchor protocol. We talked about the Titano or Libero protocol and how fixed APY protocols can be built and how they work. We talked about the definition of a protocol and how it's built and what's the purpose of it. I think out of what we talked about, possibly there needs to be more investigation on Anchor, first of all, as a source of liquidity to pool that can be used. I have invested in the US stock market and I didn't earn 20% APY. So if I invested in Anchor, I would have gotten much more. So the question is that going to happen next year? If so, maybe I should just take all my capital and put it to Anchor because it's quite solid. And then also another thing that I want to investigate aside from Anchor is also this concept of Ethereum virtual machine and get a little bit more in depth onto the concept of possibly proof of stake and proof of work. Because yes, we understand what they are, but I don't really understand the economics of it. How do I really get the money? Why do I get rewarded for what? For keeping my money somewhere? I'm not sure about that. I understand the proof of work. Proof of work. Proof of work is simple. Proof of work is what Bitcoin does. There's blocks that are encrypted, and in order to break the block and get the new Bitcoin, you have to guess the password. And in order to guess the password, you need computers that algorithmically try to decode this block, and then they get the password out, and then the block opens and there's Bitcoins coming in, and they get fed to you directly. That I understand. So you get rewarded because you decode the block and the Bitcoin comes in. But that there's nothing to do with price. It's just that you create a new Bitcoin and you possess the Bitcoin. It gets fed onto you because you decrypted it. So I understand proof of work. But proof of stake, it's slightly different. Well, it's very different. So you essentially get rewarded for what? For validating transactions? So do I understand? If I understand this correctly, let's just do an example. Let's say I want to give money to Paolo, which is on the other side of the screen. And in order to get the money to Paolo, I need to move through Frank or through Gianluca. And if I send my money and it goes onto this node to Frank, and then it goes on to Paolo, then Frank earns, say I send 100 tokens, and out of the 100 tokens, Frank gets 1. Is that what that is?
That is what I understood, yeah, because I am validating the token.
But when I send Bitcoins, I don't pay gas fees.
Yeah, you pay. I'm pretty sure.
You pay very low.
I mean, we should try. I'm not sure 100%, but we always pay some gas fee.
Okay. So that's what it is.
Frank,
That's staking.
I think last time I transferred my Bitcoin wasn't with gas fee. Do you remember?
No, but is really low. You sometimes you don't notice them because sometimes it's just 30
So
cents
it's low.
or
It's
something like
really
that.
it's low. It's lower. Really slower.
Yeah, it's not
Lower
noticeable because I don't remember paying anything with Bitcoin
at
before.
all. In this situation, I don't know. Maybe it's different. Maybe is no one needs to be there to validate the transaction. But I should search better about that.
I mean, if I search on it now, would it be BTC gas fee? Gas fee are the transaction fees that users pay to miners on a blockchain protocol to have their transaction included on the block. Oh, Bitcoin transaction fee estimator. Oh, okay. So I can type here. No, I cannot type anything. That's interesting. So Bitcoin average transaction fee historical. There's an historical chart. So now it's the fees are on 1.59. So this is on average on the 25th of February. There was a total transaction fee of 1.715 on all the Bitcoin chain. And I wonder why it was so high here, because everyone was doing transactions when it was going up.
Maybe because people sold a lot and they.
Yeah. And this is the transaction fees on Bitcoin. Look, it's much higher.
So it gets higher with more when there is more volatility. Looks like.
Yeah, and this is an average transaction fee in USD dollars, so US dollars. So, for example, now Bitcoin is on average, so average of all the transactions, it's $1.76, whereas for Ethereum it's where is it? 8.43. So
Yeah, it is different, but you still have to pay even if you transfer Bitcoin.
and
So
is that what proof of stake is?
yeah, but proof of stake is in chain like Binance Smart Chain or others. So in case of Bitcoin, maybe it's a bit different.
Yeah. But so those are the fees. So essentially, you pay fees for transaction from transactions because people. So Frank would get my part of my transaction that goes to Paolo. That's essentially what's happening. And on Ethereum, he's getting more than than what happened if I was transacting Bitcoin, I guess. So that's what staking is. So when they talk about staking, so a crypto is staking, it means that if you hold tokens, if you have a large number of tokens in the smart chain, say for example in Cake, then those tokens earn me money. They farm essentially. That's what farming is possibly also. So those tokens will get me more tokens because they're validating other stuff. But not the tokens themselves. It's because the more tokens that I have, the more nodes in the blockchain do I have. I think. So that's what staking is. So, yeah. I think we can finish the live, and then we can close this, and then obviously next time we a couple of things before we close. We are not going to do it on Sunday evening. I think it's a killer for everyone. Maybe not, but for me it's a killer, because on Sunday, like, you want to just do your own thing or whatever, go to a restaurant, have a date with someone, whatever. But possibly we could do it
I remember last time.
yeah, we could do it on a different day of the week, where people are more prone to do it. Say, Tuesday evening, whatever, Wednesday evening, or Monday evening at 7 p.m., something like that. If it's doable, then we're gonna try and arrange it for that. But obviously, it depends on what's best for people. What
I
else?
agree.
Yeah, it's better. For next week, we're going to possibly think about what we're going to talk. I think we are going to talk maybe a bit more. We're going to talk possibly, Frank, about NFTs again. You need
NFT.
NFTs and possibly the metaverse. I think it's a good argument could be the metaverse. We can do examples and get into the metaverse itself and learn a little bit about it. How this is well connected to NFTs, because NFTs really work on the metaverse.
Today I was doing my research for my assignment, and then I discovered a really interesting theory about the future of the music, which embrace the actual NFT and the rights, the trading rights, and these kind of new ways for monetize from music and creation. So actually, if you are up to, I can share these researches about NFTs and how the music industry at the moment is changing regarding this new technology and blockchain and this factor. If we're gonna talk about NFT and metaverse, so I think could be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. So we can set up possibly next week around these arguments, this concept, and I think we're gonna have a lot to talk, because those types of subjects really are a lot of things to say. So yeah, we possibly I think it could be good to focus on what you were saying, Paolo. Possibly have a general idea of the metaverse, and then we can talk about that, and then sort of structure it towards that argument.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and also possibly I would like to also generalize on the idea of Ethereum used specifically for this, because Ethereum is the smart chain used in the metaverse, and by the way, just reconnecting back to what we were saying, Ethereum is going to proof of stake very soon. So that chart that we saw about the fees, the average transaction fees, that's just going to be much lower, because Ethereum will work on proof of stake. Now, I need to think about it, because I'm not really sure, because if it's not proof of stake now, why are we paying transaction fees? Isn't that the case? Isn't that what it is? So I still need to understand. But that's how it is, to be honest.